Hello, world. My name is Hannah, and this is my world, where I am going to be humble, open, and transparent about my journey as the wife, the mom, and the boss. Hello, world, and welcome back. As promised, I told you guys I was going to bring my co-host, Mr. Anthony Jenkins, on with me.
I got a name. I'm a co-host.
Anyways, I told you guys that I was going to bring him back on for us to talk about our wedding anniversary. We just celebrated 13 years of wedded bliss.
Cue the applause.
So, basically, we're just going to talk about what we've learned and, I don't know, just life over the past 13 years and how we've grown. I will say, and I think I've said this on the podcast plenty of times, that I am not the same Hannah that he married back in 2008.
Yeah, no, you're not. The Hannah that I married in 2008 almost divorced me for leaving 2 forks in the kitchen sink.
I did not almost divorce you.
Yes, you were. It was like, it was over. It was like...
It was not over.
Our marriage. I was like, Hannah, it's just a couple forks. I'm sorry. I mean, you were... She's a different woman today.
I am a different woman today.
Because there's a whole lot of dishes in the sink. And she's still with me.
But
our kids.
We've learned to adjust. I've said this before as well, that we complement each other. So Anthony wasn't necessarily the, most tidiest person in the world.
I'm still not.
And he's not, but he's gotten a lot better. It's not as, I would say, bad as it was when we first got married. Yeah. Now, if you see stuff in the house in disarray, you're like, all right, come on, guys, let's clean up. To the children, not to me per se, but I'm just saying. So we've grown. We've kind of mellowed each other out. I mean, I am still very task oriented, still like for the house to look a certain way, but I am not as, I guess, anal as some people would put it, or OCD ish.
No, you're not. You really. I think just like I've gotten better, you've gotten better as well.
Yes.
I mean, and I think that's the important thing. We just kind of grew together. Because keep in mind, guys. I mean, I don't know if they know how old we are.
I don't.
Not that old. Like, we got married at 25 years old. Yeah. So, yikes. I think about that now. I'm like, dang, 25.
Yeah, Anthony was pointing out that we have been married to each other for a third
of our life. A third of our life. We're not even 39 yet. Yeah. And that's, 13 years?
Yeah.
So, at 39 would be a full, complete third.
Yeah.
So, we've been married more than a third. Like, you taking up all my life.
I've taken up all of
But you know what? I wouldn't do life without you. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change any part of my life. Because that's like, oh, my clock fell. I wouldn't change any part of life because where literally everything that I am today, like, you have like a third to do with that.
Okay. That's a weird way of saying it.
If you put it that way, it's true. You
right.
have a third. You have a third to do with it.
Right, a third.
My mom and dad have the second third of it, but
okay.
It is what it is.
I mean, I would say I wouldn't change anything either, because if I hadn't gone through what we've gone through together in the past 13 years, I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's why, like, things changed for me as far as looking at, how they say, don't live your life with regrets. But there's some times where there's something that you wish you would have done, or something that you wish you would have done differently, which could turn into regret. But our pastor said something a long time ago that really hit home for me, and it was that you never lose, but it's either you win or you learn. And so I've learned to look at situations that I would have liked to have gone differently as opportunities to learn. And if I did not learn those things, then I wouldn't be who I am today. And so, every marriage goes through their highs and their lows and their differences. But those times that you go through things that, may cause tension or difficulty is necessary to help the both of you grow. I think one of the things that I've learned about us going through stuff together is that we can make it through, and that regardless of what, we have each other's back.
Yeah. Nobody's left.
No, nobody's left.
No one left.
I'm not gonna
So that's
say.
a plus. As long as you stay, we're good, right? It just makes sense.
And I mean, the thing is that I know some people disagree with that. They're just like, oh, if it's really bad, you should go. And everybody's situation is different. And Anthony always tells me that I need to be careful when I quote this. But there's a quote that I heard Pastor Creflo Dollar say a long time ago, and I still live by that today. And that is, when people get divorced, either one or both parties were being selfish. They weren't willing to compromise. And I get it. There's some situations out there that just call for it.
Which out of the two of us, which one is the most willing to compromise?
If,
Wait, before you answer the question, let's just raise our hand. Raise your hand if you think that you are the one that most compromises. That's not true. Why are you raising your hand?
What you mean that's not true?
You don't compromise.
I do.
No. Who's the first to say sorry? I think that's a compromise.
No, nope. I don't agree. I disagree with that statement, because first of all, it depends.
Who's the first to speak to the other if one is upset?
Okay, I'll just put it out there for you guys. I have not. Let me not say I am not, because that's saying that it's still present tense, and I am a work in progress.
I'm still asking. Let's ask some more questions.
No, before you go on with these questions, what I'm saying is that I have not always been the best communicator. So yes, you will come to me first about stuff, but I'm also a processor. So there's certain times that Anthony wants me to say something a certain way, and I have a problem with saying it that way. And I think that's where your whole who's quick to say sorry first, because maybe it's a pride thing, and Lord, you have to work on me with that. But I'm not going to apologize for something unless I see or understand what it is I'm apologizing for. And so sometimes that it does take me a little bit longer, because I need to process. Because for me, it's like I've always told this to Anthony, I do not ever intend to hurt you. There may be something that I said or say or do that could cause pain or cause hurt, but that's never my intention. So when you may get offended by something that I say or do, and it's like, say sorry, I'm just like, but that wasn't my intention. And so for me, I just need to process that, to see it from your perspective, first of all, so that I understand how that affected you, so that I can be remorseful and say sorry.
I think I had to learn the same thing when it came to like apologizing, because a lot of times we see things from our we always see things from our perspective.
Right.
And we also think and see out of our own lens. So if that doesn't make sense to me, why would I apologize? Why does that even hurt your feelings? Like, I was just joking, I wasn't even serious, and you knew I was joking. Why do I need to apologize for that? You need to get tough skin, that kind of thing. I had to learn that as well, just like in communication. And it's more so about, if she's hurt, or if I said something that may have offended her, I have to apologize for it because it offended her. Because one of the things that we established early in our relationship was team. We would say Team Jenkins. Mm-hmm. I actually got that terminology from, shout out all my children, way back 2000, like yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Slater. Yeah, like way back in 2008, 2009. I used to watch soap operas. So Zach and I forget the other girl's name.
I forget her name too.
But they were Slater, and they were like Team Slater. They was just not your average. They were a great couple, but a lot of people didn't like them together. So because they were such oddballs, Zach was such a hard, tough guy, and the other girl, she was just kind of soft and gentle. So they weren't necessarily, looked like they were supposed to be paired together, but they were paired together, and they just established that they were going to be a team no matter what. People say it no matter what. And I was like, yo, I really like that. So we just started calling ourselves like Team Jenkins, because it's like we're going to be a team no matter what. We're going to win together, we're going to lose together, we're going to draw together, learn together, we cry together, we laugh together. That was a post I put on my social media page. And over these past 13 years, there's a lot of good things. We always highlight the great things, and we put our best foot forward. But what was key for us in 13 years was that we laughed together, we celebrated together, but we cried together. We also, we mourned together. We struggled together. We learned together. We fought together. But the main thing was that we did it together. Yeah. And not separately. That's just what's really important. I believe that togetherness can really hold your marriage. I can't forget pray together. And that's not something that, honestly, that we always did. It's not something that we always did. And
pray separately.
I mean, it's for me, not at all. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm going to just get up and go through my day.
Yeah.
But life teaches us that, every day isn't promised. Everything isn't promised. Like, it's not guaranteed that we're going to wake up the next day. It's not guaranteed that things will be all great and all jolly. But so we ought to take in and take advantage of every opportunity that we get together. I mean, yeah, we fought, but how serious is that?
I think that's key too, because the thing is that you are going to have disagreements and arguments in your marriage. And going back to what you were saying, even though you were joking, the truth is that in the first 2 years of our marriage, it was rough. Like, when people say that, oh, it's just wedding bliss, you're going to be in the honeymoon stage for like your first years.
We were kids.
Okay, so we were young, yes, because we were 25 years old.
I didn't know what it meant to be no grown person.
Right.
I'm 25.
I mean, because and that was the thing. Anthony and I, we just bought a house. This was our first time being home buyers. I was not working because I had just finished my first year of law school, and so I wasn't working. And you got to put it like that. But then I was
like, girl, I thought you were gonna be a lawyer.
But then oh Lord. And then but I started working. But it was difficult, and because I was in law school, there was a lot of debt in the beginning, and we made probably not all of them, but we pretty much made a whole bunch of mistakes.
Whole lot of financial.
One thing we do not recommend.
Then we had a child. And put that baby in something they call daycare.
Oh, Lord, daycare. I was so glad when AJ was finally out of daycare.
Wait, we didn't even get to AJ yet.
But I'm just saying, because the first, but we had the second one before she was 2.
Then you got pregnant with AJ.
A lot.
By yourself.
So
the Lord.
First, what you mean by myself? I can't with you. Anyway, the first 2 years was a very trying time because we were learning to become one. We're still learning to become one. Like we're always going to be becoming one. Mm-hmm. But it was learning to bring 2 separate people into one household. And what's interesting is that he's the oldest in his family. I'm the baby in my family. And, he grew up, you're only, 22 months? 21 months older than his brother. So they grew up together, sharing and everything. Because my siblings are like 13 and 11 years older than me, I kind of grew up like an only child. So I didn't have to share. I was a sharing person, but it's different with sharing my space. So having to learn to share things like a house And, you know, I was in a bathroom. Oh, definitely bathroom.
Toothbrush.
You know, no, we don't share toothbrush, even though I made that mistake today. That was horrible.
You ever brush your teeth with your mouth, with your spouse's toothbrush?
Before today, I could say I never, and because I did.
We're on vacation right now, so this is why we're
celebrating this, 13 years. But yeah,
I'm mistaken her colors.
For some reason
I got the Hannah breath today.
Whatever.
No, you got my breath.
But right? It was devastating.
You took my toothbrush. My toothbrush was wet. I was like, why is my toothbrush wet this morning?
Anyways, back to the story.
Yeah, let me tell you what I was doing. So while I was brushing my teeth, I was like, this is what she was brushing with. And she almost threw. She was like, oh my gosh.
Nothing against him, but that's just something that you don't share.
Oh my gosh.
You don't share toothbrushes. That's
I was like, horrible. I'm about to brush the back of my tongue, Hannah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to be married and be like, no, I don't want to share a toothbrush
you know what?
with you.
You lived. You lived.
I did,
today.
But I'm not ever gonna do that again.
You won't do it again. You did it once.
No.
If you did it before, you would do it again.
I will not. I will not do that again. But back to the story.
Okay.
Just, with that first 2 years, learning to live together, it was difficult. And I come from a background where my parents argued. So having those little tit for tat conversations or disagreements about a fork being left in the sink, and we would get into an argument about it, not making the bed up. I think I've shared that with you guys. I'm over that now. But before I wasn't. I was just like, oh my gosh, why are you so messy? Why can't you just put stuff away? That was then. That's not now. I was just saying.
You take good care of me. She takes really great. What works for you works for you. And I don't want nobody changing you. And you don't want nobody changing me.
I think that's the other thing too. It's finally accepting the person that you married.
I wish we got ding 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 ding. That's what we have to do. Because when you marry, I think that is the whole key. That is the answer, Hannah. You have to learn how to accept the person that you married.
But also accept that person is still growing into themselves too. You know what I'm saying? They're not fully who they're supposed to be. And we're not ever going to fully be who we are. That's what learning and growing is. Because if you reach the fullness of your growth, then you're not growing anymore. And if you're not growing, you're not living. And if you're not living, then you're dead.
Might as well pluck it.
So, we're constantly evolving and changing and learning and becoming better. And as we're doing that, your partner needs to recognize that and accept that something in life changed. When you met me, yes, I was on the pathway of becoming a lawyer. But during that year of law school and we were engaged, you saw how much I tried to accomplish this goal and how dedicated I was to it. But you also saw what it was doing to me as well, as much as I wanted that. And I had to come to grips that I loved it and I enjoyed it, but I realized, I don't necessarily think this is my path. And I think for me, I might have been pursuing it because that's what other people were expecting of me. And I had to come to grips that I had a different path to choose.
I didn't want you for your money.
Okay.
She just wanted me for mine. But
okay.
My mama was like, what money? You ain't got no money. I was broke. But look, Hannah, for real, I really did. It didn't matter to me. I wanted you to be happy. And I wanted happiness for you.
Right.
And then, as time go on, we, like I said, we learned together. Hannah went on and she ended up going back to school after having AJ while he was 5 months.
Yeah.
Went and got your master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something we got to go through together and celebrate that.
And then when I met you, I didn't know that you had any aspirations to go into acting or filmmaking or any of that stuff. But,
yeah.
I've watched you grow in your craft and being creative and doing the things that you do, which I think also adds another element to our family, because that's something that we can all do together. We started a business together with Greater Entertainment, and we're teaching the kids how to take pictures. It's a legacy that we can pass on to them, you know.
Yeah.
Like we've changed and evolved a lot. And I think that that's important to understand, that no matter what you go through, you know, you're going through it together, and you're there for one another. And yeah, times are going to get hard. There's going to be some difficult times. There's going to be some storms that you go through. There's going to be times where you get on each other's nerves and be like, oh my gosh, I need time away from all y'all. All. Including the kids.
You know, that's why we had this other saying we would say, you know, dancing together.
Yes.
In the minefields. Mm-hmm. You know, we're out there and there's bombs all around us, but, you know, you dance together.
Right.
You know, we move together. We move as one.
And you don't leave your partner. If they step on a minefield, you don't just leave them there to bleed out. You go and you bandage them up and help them through it. And, you know, I think that's what's important. One of the main things for me these past 13 years has taught me is that, one, I am stronger than I give myself credit for.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. She ever put y'all in a headlock? I've been put in a headlock by Hannah.
I'm not talking about that kind of strength.
But I'm talking about that type of strength. And the strength to be vegan. That's strong. That is strong. You're vegan. Like... You're very disciplined. You're very disciplined.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, because that's one of the major things that changed from the time we got married until now. And when I first became vegan, you were not cool with it.
I didn't like it because we couldn't go eat.
And we argued because I was like, I'm doing this for my health. Do you want me to be sick? Like, but we had to understand each other.
Well, I had to understand.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I had to understand what your perspective of his. It wasn't even the fact that he was upset that I no longer ate meat, but it was more so like, Hannah, when we go to a restaurant, you got all these questions to ask.
Yeah, we can't.
And now I can't order my food because I'm waiting for it. Or there was the one time, and it was our anniversary. We were in Naples, and we went to P.F. Chang's.
Uh-huh.
And I was asking the young lady, because I noticed that they had like the V to let you know what was vegetarian, but they didn't have it by one of my favorite dishes, which was the pad thai.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Hannah pretty much stopped the whole restaurant.
I didn't.
Everybody came out, was like, listen, I'm sorry, this is not a vegan establishment. I felt like the guy was getting ready to kick us out, and was like,
and
if you want vegan,
were embarrassed by the whole situation.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so on our anniversary trip, we got into an argument because...
Did we argue for that?
I mean, it was tension. It wasn't so much arguing, but it was tension because I was frustrated that you were frustrated, and it was just like, whatever. Let's.
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
It was, but
you gotta see another thing in marriage. You gotta just let stuff go.
I mean, it's not. I wasn't holding on to it. It just popped into my mind, though.
I know I'm not talking because I'm mainly the main one that's like, yep, you remember when something, and it's always like, why you gotta
but that's
bring
key,
out the
though.
past?
You have to let things go because, and this is one of the things that Anthony and I have had, discussions about as well. Because I'm like, sometimes we project. We project what we think the person is going to do because of a pattern in their history. But if your partner is intentionally trying to do better and intentionally trying to change and realize, okay, this is something that I've done for a long time, but I realize this is not working, and they're trying to change who they are, you can't keep bringing that up, or you can't project or, assume that this is how they're going to react because that's how they've done in their past, and not give them an opportunity to show you that they change, because that can be very hurtful. And that can make them feel defeated because it's like, I'm trying to change. I'm trying to do better. You're not even giving me an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Another thing is listening.
Yes.
We got to listen. I struggled with that. I would listen to respond, because I'm more of a talker. And I had to learn that, I have to listen to what Hannah is saying. No matter how long it took for her to say it. No matter the length of the story or the chapter book of. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Really. But I just had to learn to listen, and I learned to listen, and I had to realize that I want my wife to have a voice, and I want you to have a voice. I think that all people deserve a voice, Yeah, there's this head. Yeah, you have the head of the house, and I'm the man, and all this other stuff. And that's Bible, that's biblical. But I think that humility, that really shows your strength, and that's what I choose to. That's what I want to choose to live by. Live through humility, and be someone that makes somebody feel better after speaking to them. And I always didn't do that. Hannah always didn't feel better after I spoke to her. And that was something that I realized in marriage that needs to change. And it wasn't I challenged myself to, hey, this has to change like now, not necessarily like, all right, I'm gonna work on this for 8 years and I done broke, shattered that. I'll never forget Hannah told me something. She said, words are like nails to a wood fence. When you apologize and when you take it back, it's like pulling that nail out of that wood fence. The nail isn't there, but the hole is still there, And I'll never forget, how you said that. So that it's like that's why it's so important for us to kind of, we have to manage manage our emotions. This could be male and or female,
right? Because as a wife, I have to be very careful on things that I say to you as well. Like whoever, and I think I've shared this in the podcast before, but whoever came up with that saying that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's false. That's not true. Words do hurt. And the thing is that sometimes words can hurt more or do more damage than actually breaking a bone. Because at least with a broken bone, you can see that it was broken. But words, because you cannot see the scars that it leaves on a person's heart, on their spirit, or on their mind,
even the person that's hurt, they don't even realize how bad it might have affected them.
Right, because there's things that will come up in a marriage later on that you can say triggers. And all of a sudden it's just like, but all of a sudden it's like, your spouse says this thing and it triggers you from something that happened in your childhood.
And then you become like, a beast and be, like, where did that come from? Like, why are you so?
And you don't even know, but when you sit down and you think about it, it's like, man, it's because this happened or this was said to me when I was a child and you brought that up and that just opened up Pandora's box. So we have to be careful with our words and what we say, and it's important to communicate because non-communication can hurt as well. Like that's another thing that I've learned in these 13 years is that I'm a suppressor.
Well, I'm gonna talk your ear off, so
he talks and I'm the one who doesn't talk as much. But what the problem with that is I'm thinking I like to run away from the tension. I run away from the conflict, and that's not good to be a runner. And so I had to learn to say to him like, hey, I need time to process this, to kind of think about the conversation. Can we come back to it? But then I also had to be committed by saying, all right, let's come back to it at such and such time. Because what I would do is I'd be like, hey, let me process. And he'd be like, okay, go ahead. And then I will take longer in hopes that he'll forget so that we don't have to talk about it. And that's one of those sweeping something underneath the rug and thinking that it's going to go away, but it just piles up and now all of a sudden your floor is unleveled because there was things that you didn't deal with. And
got mess. We just walking on mess, hidden mess.
Right. And you can't do that. So I would say that in 13 years, we have learned a lot. And we still have a lot to
13
learn.
times 3 more.
How about just infinity? Because
26.
No.
39. That's 39 more years.
Yep. But.
How old would we be?
But I mean, I don't know. We'd be old.
78.
We would be old.
We'll be old.
But I'm just saying, this is
78 ain't old. That's not that old.
I mean, it's not that old, but I'm just saying, we're in this for the long run.
Give me 39 times 4. I want 39 times 4.
Until the Lord calls us home, we're stuck with each other.
39 times 3.5. I don't want to be that old.
Oh my gosh, she's still talking about math.
I'm running the numbers.
Why? But to sum it up, in 13 years, what would you say that you've enjoyed the most?
In the 13 years, the thing I've enjoyed the most, I've enjoyed the milestones, the kids. I've enjoyed every year that passed. I've enjoyed the holidays. I've enjoyed learning more about you, learning about us. Mm-hmm. I like to learn new things, and you show me new things every day.
Okay. I would say for me, the milestones are a big deal. I think that our kids have truly given us an opportunity to kind of see the world all over again through their eyes. And so watching things amaze them, and watching you as a father, I think is awesome, because I know that you strive to break the norm to, where it's like the father is not as engaged or, as interactive, but you're very interactive with the kids. And so I like that, and I like how attentive you are to me as well, and so I would say that I've enjoyed watching you grow and mature into a father and into a husband. It's just like, I remember, this 23-year-old that I met, just you're not that same person anymore.
Didn't want to give me her number.
This was not like a love at first sight.
You didn't even like me.
No.
She didn't even like me. Me! I told her, I said, keep talking to me every day. You're going to fall in love with me. And she just...
I can't even refute it, because look at me now. We're
she
married.
had my babies.
Anyway.
She did things with me.
Oh, gosh. And on that note, that's 13 years.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for putting up with me. And listen, fellas, I'm gonna say something to the guys. Well, just people, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
It's okay for your spouse to show you things, and that's what she did, because you go in, fully and confident or not, but regardless, you're gonna always learn, and it's you don't ever want to stop learning. And you showed me so many things. I'm totally different than when I was 13 years ago. I don't I don't do certain things that I used to do. What did I not do anymore? Oh, I don't walk on hotel bathroom floors with my bare feet because of this girl. She showed me how nasty that is. She was like, that is not good to do. I don't walk in my house with shoes on because of this girl. She was like, you do that, you walk on all kind of nasty stuff outside. That's what she does. I don't leave dishes out in the sink because stuff will crawl in your sink. Because this girl right here.
It seems like you learned a lot about cleaning from me.
I learned everything there is about cleaning from you.
Germaphobe.
And to be a germaphobe, because germs are real.
Okay. On that note, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say Anthony is, and AJ too, but the two of you are the jokesters of the family. Skylar and I look at them like, what? But we enjoy it. They entertain us. And so I'm very, grateful for how, goofy and, hilarious you are. And I know I don't necessarily tell you that I find you funny, but I do.
Okay. So laugh at my jokes.
When they're funny. Anyways, as always, I hope you got something out of this podcast today. If you want to connect with me, you can always find me on Facebook at Hannah's World. You can find me on Instagram at Hannah's World 00, or you can send your listener letters to hannahsworld00 at gmail.com. Oh, and for the Those of you who are watching by YouTube, go ahead, like, share, comment. Love your feedback. Love to hear what you guys think. What were you about to say?
I was going to say, you can find me
yes.
on Instagram at
Anthony
_Jenkins.
Yes.
I don't know what my Facebook link is. It's like a whole bunch of numbers. So,
but check him out, you guys. He has a lot of cool content on there with all the different vlogs and videos that he does. So check him out as well. All right. Until next time. Peace out, world.